So I have a question for you. Are we living in hell or are we stuck in the contrast of what we've been sold life should be? What we've been told our life should be by society? Bob Marley has a song called Time Will Tell. And one of the lyrics, he says, think you're in heaven, but you're living in hell. The question is, why do we constantly feel that we need to stay where we are when we can unlearn the things that are no longer serving us, especially when it comes towards living the life that we want to live? Let's talk about it.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another Dope Life podcast, the dopest podcast out there. And I'm, of course, your host, Coach AJ, Dope Life Coach, the dopest life coach out there. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit our subscribe button so that you never miss another episode. And if you'd be also lovely and dope, leave us a rating and a review. We will greatly, greatly appreciate it so our podcast can get out to dope individuals just like yourself. So today we're talking about kind of like a warp of I think a lot of us are in, where I hear it like, I feel like this is hell. This is hell on earth. And I get with everything that's going on how it could feel that way. But I'm challenging us today to start looking at not only how far that's been embedded into our system, but how to undo it. Because we're all about, we learned something, but we're all about unlearning the things that no longer serve us. Let's start off with when you were a child. When we're born, we have all the love in the world, right? A baby will just giggle just because you smile at them, right? The energy is just so pure and compassionate and kind. What comes in and mucks it all up, to be fair, are human beings, adults, society. And society is made up of what? People. Bob Marley's song, Time Will Tell, which I can't not get that lyric out of my head. I think we're in heaven, but we're living in hell. I implore you to go on YouTube it. You just listen to what he is saying. The lyrics are from many, many years ago, but the fact that they still can touch you in this era that we're in, like it hits your soul like, whoa, like what he's saying. A lot of his songs are like that. But in the lyrics of Time Will Tell, in the chorus, he repeats, think we're in heaven, but we're living in hell. Let's go back to when we were a kid. When you're in kindergarten or whenever you're told, draw what you feel like your life is going to look like, take a step back and show us, what do you feel like you're going to have in your future without even thinking. It's a house, the cars, maybe it's kids, dogs. We're able to put in the most simplistic things that we want. And it's because we've seen it or we've heard about it or we've seen, people around us, our parents have it and it looks and feels really good without knowing the context of what it takes to not only just like obtain all of that, but to maintain it, right? A sense of innocence. We're more creative. We have more curiosity of what life can and will be for us. We're young, we're carefree. And somewhere along the way that gets lost. And it gets lost because we're sold into this pipe dream of that your life is going to be X. And then we realize that is not what we've been sold in any way, shape, or form. And where does it start? It's not even just about it starting. It's about how it's showing up even into your adulthood, not just how you are as a child or as a teenager, but even the moment you become an adult. So let's start off with schools. How we've been taught that failure is a horrible thing and we're leveling our success against awards and certificates. We start having societal comparisons with other people. That carries into our adulthood or our responsibilities. Let's face it, all of us have responsibilities, but somewhere along the way, we forgot about the time of play, time to have fun. We're going to have responsibilities because we have to survive. We have to live. We have to take care of people. We know this. But over time, as you realize, it got crowded with homework and then it got crowded with chores. And slowly those chores became even more crowded with jobs being in the workforce or even emotional suppression. How many times as boys and as men, you've been told to be tough. You've been told possibly like, boys don't cry, man up, toughen up. And all that is like a volcano that is starting to just build and eventually it can erupt because of the fact that you're suppressing all of your emotions. And it doesn't help that majority of you have all been told the same thing. And now you're all in the same group thinking the same way. Not to mention you're all in the same group suppressing your emotions. And what can happen when you shake up a can of soda and a Mentos or something. It erupts, it explodes. That is what happens when you suppress your emotions as well. The thing is, we were always whole before. As mentioned in the beginning, when we're born, we're happy. A baby's happy, compassionate, kind, hugs and kisses and super sweet. We were whole before, but we were told to be something different. Now, I don't want you to feel too down on yourself. I want you to actually say congratulations to yourself because this is the moment when you realize, yes, perhaps you've been sold a bunch of bull, but now you get a chance to change that. This is all feedback. This is not failure. And this is the excitement that your young self has been probably waiting for you to tap into even more. Perhaps you've noticed your creative decline. Maybe you were a creative kid growing up. You love to draw and color. This is the time for you to get back into that. The dollar store is my friend. This is a moment where you can go in and buy some painting art. Maybe you don't want to go that route. Maybe you want to go the route where you used to do freehand. Maybe you want to get back into knitting or doing other creative activities that you just enjoyed. And let's talk about curiosity for a moment. You were once probably so curious and wanted to learn more. I saw a video this morning where this lady said, "You don't want to mess with me because books was taken away from me as a form of punishment." And I was like, that part. But with that also being said, yeah, get back into your curiosity of thinking and researching. I read dissertations for fun now. It's expanding my mind. It's allowing me to know more about a person who put in a lot of research into something that I'm interested in. And now I'm getting to see another side of that. We have phones, we have the internet, we have access to all these very great tools. Use them. You don't have to use them just to scroll every now and then. Nothing against that totally, and until you get into that warped, which I'm going to talk about that a little bit too. But use the tools. Why don't you? You pay for them. And that's another thing. With you now realizing that there's a childlike self of you that wants to bring in more play, wants to bring in more of the things that you once loved because you are going to build your own heaven. So at the point where you no longer say, I'm living in hell, you have the funds probably to do it. When you're a kid, you had to depend on other people to do it for you. But now you actually have the means to do it. So do it. And before you say, look, coach, I get it, but that stuff is expensive. Again, there are free resources out there. I like free 99, so I look up for the free resources and also look for the cheaper resources so that you can still funnel the creativity and funnel the curiosity. Because I don't want you to think that even though your happiness may have declined a little bit, that there's no way it could come back up. Perhaps you're in an emotional unbalancing right now. And that's why I say play needs to come back in. We're not going to just push down all our emotions. We're not just going to just cover our responsibilities of ways that we don't have to take care of ourselves. We're going to allow the creativity, curiosity, the emotional intelligence to come back in, the happiness to come back in. But all of this needs to be what connects to you, not what connects to society and what they think that you should be doing, because we've already followed that trap and it's led us to a position of where we're pushing down our emotions, where we no longer are curious and we're not even tapping into our creativity. You see, we've been sold a version of success that has removed us from our authenticity. And how does it feel? Not too good, right? So let's change what success looks like for us. Bob Marley says in his song, Time Will Tell, think you're in heaven, but you're living in hell. And what I kind of took from that was heaven can sometimes mask the quiet suffering of modern day living. I tend to watch a lot of videos of what people would call third world countries. And I put in quotations because they're actually richer than us in many ways. In fact, they're so rich that we vacation to those places. Take a second and think about what you once dreamt about. What were your dreams? What were your desires? You had them in your view, in your vision, not just because it was something fun to do when you were a child, but your subconscious was talking to you from then. But again, because we've been sold this modern day heaven, and now we are saying this is hell, let's change it. Let's go back to the things that made us feel whole. And a lot of those things are from when we were a kid. Let's go back to the things that made us feel happy and curious and creative, and that didn't allow us to suppress all our emotions because society tells us we just got to toughen it up all the time. And here's how you can do it. Start creating on purpose. Start celebrating all of your small wins. You used to do it when you were a kid. Let's get back into that. Next, play, rest, and start imagining again. And that word responsibility, as adults, we carry it. but start redefining it not just as something that we have to do, but start redefining it as care and not just a burden. So I think that Bob Marley was right when he said, think you're in heaven, but you're living in hell. Well, yeah, to some degree. Funny, as again, he wrote that song many, many years ago, but it holds a lot of truth even till this day. Even though you may think that, doesn't mean that you have to live in it. I think the song and the lyrics are challenging us to change what we feel is hell at the moment and making it and designing it to our own heaven here on earth. And it starts with the most simplistic steps and changes. It's not going to just happen on whim, but it will take time. Give yourself some grace and give yourself permission to start building your heaven while you are here. You understand? All right. I thank you for taking the time to tap into our episode today. I hope you're able to get some really good gems. I hope you're also able to start shifting your mindset of what you may say, am I living in hell? I'm living in hell. No, no, no. You're living in heaven. It all starts with gratitude. And it starts with you shifting your mindset. I will see you next week. And y'all know what to do. Like, share, comment. Let's talk about it. But also, as always, walk with peace and walk with love.